Another red day in the market. As we create higher highs and higher lows, it is a trending market, which clearly is moving higher. But the consolidation in between may hurt a lot of guys if you are trying to trade this market with leverage. If we analyze the same for XRP, it seems interesting because it is easy to know that as the dust is getting settled, we are now going towards a new time high. Now, I'll explain and take you through that. Because if we are not going to do this, then there would be a parabolic move to much upside. So as long as this higher high and higher low trend remains, the market is moving higher and there is no doubt about it. Based on the wave 1 consolidation in BTC market, you can actually see this. We went up wave 1, we consolidated there for 483 days. So now if we consider the usual trend in the market, that takes next 3 to 5 months more of consolidation in the macro perspective for BTC itself. However, on a shorter time frame, if you zoom in and look at BTC, this is what you see, which is a possibility of a bearish continuation to the downside, retesting the previous support of 30 to 31,000, or it may even wick down towards 28,000. So as of now, this is what we are looking at. So as you step out, you see things clearly. So we just took a step back. So what can we see here? We can actually understand there is a possibility like this, right? So yesterday, I gave this to my followers, pointing out we may actually go down. And if you have some dry powder in your portfolio, there is a sale coming for you, right? There is a buying opportunity in the alts, which would be higher odds. Those who were prepared to take that chance are kind of looking to buy, finding bottom in the market. But those who are financially mature, those who have already bought in at those lower prices, they have the average way lower. They are like, this is just a 10-20% drip max and it's fine, because the market always behave in this manner, because BTC is trending lower. Now BTC dominance is showing you this. So that means chances are high for altcoins to trend higher, not to the downside. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science-behind investing regularly. So as we look at XRP, we do understand this, right? We are creating higher lows and we have created higher high here before we were going down. Now we didn't actually get the close there, but this kind of shows you that BTC was kind of having something different. It was showing higher low and higher high. So that's kind of an indecision pattern. And in a bearish move, you are looking at that as a bearish continuation. Now that's on a 4-hour chart, right? So when we step back to a daily chart, this is what you see. It's something similar. You're coming down and it may go back down to test the support range before it bounces up. Now, when do you actually see this get changing, right? Say right now, if we look at this, we went up, this was the resistance, we came down, so that's resistance. After which, when you moved up, that turned into a support. Now you repeated that again, you went through that resistance, went up, came back down. Then you went up, came back down, made that as a resistance and turning into a support. Now, what do we anticipate? When we go back up, we think that this resistance would be turned into a support after going higher. Now we are looking at this like 43% up, then 125% up, and then 170%. So now if you kind of average them and say, okay, possibilities are higher, as you cross this, we are going to go towards 100%. This would be the support, right? Now if this is staying there, this is trending market, but mostly it would be parabolic move. Because on a macro, it shows you chances are higher for a parabolic move. What do you understand by that? You can just look at this pattern where the market has changed a lot, right? You have, this is your low, and this is your March 2020 low. So as you are trying to see this, the market is changing. Now the direction is not going towards this side. Instead, the market is trending to the upside. Say, for example, if you are taking to a look at this, the market should have moved like this, but it's not. It's moving like this. So that's increasing parabolic move in the market. So as you trend higher in such a manner, that's giving you more and more idea. Say, if you are looking at the general market, you need to understand, say, now in any market, any time frame, you can look at 4 hour, you can look at 12 hour, you can look at weekly. Weekly kind of gives you that idea to understand that noise is reduced, right? So what are you actually looking at? Say, if the market is trending higher like this, now what are you looking at, right? You need to understand whether the correction is there, whether you're going to consolidate. Say, you're going to look at this. See, if your price is remaining above this, it's fine. Say, next time, if the price is even coming back down to this, making a double bottom and moving up, that's still a buy signal, right? So this is so important for a lot of new guys in this market to understand, because they think the market is moving to the downside even when it's turning out to be moving like this. Now, why do I highlight the importance of this? Because if this is your support line, just a second, if this is what you are eyeing at, then this should be your support range. Now, always try to use a support resistance zone, which kind of gives you the highlight. Okay, that's this zone acted as a resistance when you were going up, meaning a lot of sellers were interested to sell this asset at that price. But right now, when it's coming back, a lot of buyers are interested to buy that asset. So that's why at the same time, you're also getting a kind of higher low there, right? That's interesting. Now, this goes with all assets. This go with all the price history. Say, if you move on to altcoin market cap, you are kind of looking at something like this, right? We were just talking about altcoin market like this. We were moving up, down, up, down, up, down. So what does this show you? When the market was trending higher, now you can see there should be corrections if you are to look at this, right? So when you went up higher, you had this correction there. You went up higher, you got a correction. You went up higher, you got a correction. Now you're moving up, fine. So when you are going to come down, this is what you're looking at as a support. So if that range is still staying as a support, the trend is still higher. But now the question is time, because time is what majority doesn't actually have in this market. First, we did like 100 days of consolidation. Then we moved higher. So what are you expecting? Next one should be more, because the trend in this market is like, if the first cycle is long-term consolidation, the next one would be half that one. If the first one is short like this, chances are higher that the next one would be more in terms of consolidation. Say, if you go back in history to just see what we stated here, you will find it true. Say, if you want to zoom in, you can zoom in and see. You created a higher high here, fine. And as you were coming down, you found support near the moving average. You bounced back, but you consolidated here before slowly grinding higher. So for you, if you are looking at this, what you are eyeing is this resistance, which is acting as a support here. That's the key stuff to understand. Now, the consolidation after the creation of a new high, there was like around 230 days, which is similar to what Bitcoin is suggesting, that it may consolidate for another 5-6 months, right? So this comes in area where some assets are showing they are already reaching the bottom. They have already consolidated some time. Say, XRP started its consolidation all the way from March, late March. So you can come from, say, April, May. Now it's June. So it's already consolidated 2 months, and it may retest the bottom, which would be coming back to that 0.75 range, testing this bottom again, because that zone, this one, should be acting as a resistance turned support this time. As we just highlighted here in the first one, it was a resistance previously. Now we broke above that. we acted as resistance, support first, and when you come back down, right now the 20-day moving average is acting as a support. So if you happen to break that down, you are looking for a range of 0.7, 0.75 to act as a support. Now that would kind of give the room for MACD to cross down and consolidate there and then move higher. So this is what you are looking at in the general market. Now you also need to understand there is something like this coming in. And if this is going to happen for sure, a lot of guys may miss out. Now when we look at this, we understand this area of macro structure is increasing. And at the same time on different economies, we are seeing this. Inflation is rising. Now, inflation means the price of any assets which cannot be duplicated will go high, right? So when you are looking at XRP to get more real-time price, you can jump onto Coin Paprika chart and look at it, and it's showing you 0.93. Okay, that's interesting. One end it's showing you a 0.93 and the other one is showing you 0.87. So that's a little bit of difference there. Now, anyway, if you are looking at this is the trend, you're still moving there. Now, chances looks like we may break to the downside. And if we do, we could be retesting that range. But what's much more interesting is, if you look at the RSI, it's coming back towards that support. So we may not have much of a momentum to the downside because the MACD has crossed to the upside. It's still staying to the upside, and the volume, if you zoom in and see this, you can see the volume here in the positive territory. Last time we just went to the positive territory and immediately ended back, but this time it looks like we are still there. So that combined with this RSI movement staying above this trend line shows you that the buyers have a little bit of control now. They're trying to control the market and you are near this breakout. So as you move higher, you need to break higher in RSI so that MACD can move higher towards positive zone, and that would most likely show you that this particular trend line, you're going to break that one because this was acting as a support, now resistance. So as you create this higher low pattern, you may be able to go above this one. So 1.1 or 1.05 to 1.1 is what is acting as a strong resistance right now. So as you look at Bitcoin chart, because majority understand this, right? When Bitcoin moves downside, the market kind of stays there, moves there. But you need to understand there would be a point where the market says, okay, we are kind of a little bit away from Bitcoin. We just saw a recent Bitcoin conference. At least for me, it doesn't seem like much of a professional approach there. Like we see Brad coming on stage, right? We see them like professional. So there are a lot of difference in talk and character, the behavior which you show on a stage, right? So now, as we just talked, we are looking for something which needs to be supported. But as of now, it shows like this. We went up in Bitcoin, we created this particular pattern, we came down, we went up, but this time you didn't actually get supported here. You came a little bit down. Now that on a daily shows you are entering into that consolidation phase, and right now if you are going to break through this, you may actually retest the low or create a new low. Now what can be the new low? The low which was created, what you're eyeing as a support. So that would be somewhere here which tested as a resistance and then as a support. So that's the next level which you would be eyeing to see what Bitcoin would be doing. Because if you are a guy who says, okay, Bitcoin is leading the market and if Bitcoin is moving to that direction, we are moving in that way, right? So this would be something interesting. Bitcoin dominance, retested, moving averages, got rejected, going back down. So if it's to drop, which the MACD is suggesting, which the RSI is suggesting, it should be like Bitcoin drops 5%, 10%, altcoin drops similar. But when Bitcoin bounce 5%, altcoins may bounce 15, 20%. That's how the Bitcoin dominance decreases. So you look at Bitcoin, the chart here, and you can look at different time frames, right? So as you zoom in to 4 hour, 12 hour, whatever you are looking at, what you saw in other assets which we just talked is a little bit different story. We were creating higher highs, but we are creating a lower high here, keeping a base kind of similar. That means chances are high. Now you look at the RSI to see what the trend is showing you. So this was the trend moving higher, or you can try to connect more lines and see which would be valid or having a higher probability than the other one. Looks like this one, and we broke below that. But previously we have done that here once. We broke down, but we came back up. One of the reasons at that time is the MACD was also at the lowest point, so it needed to go back up. Here the MACD is high, so it has room to the downside. So now you can zoom that on a daily and look at the MACD on Bitcoin itself and zoom out and see, okay, now we are kind of a lot of too much extended in the daily. So that's like a consolidation, or at least staying within the range where we are. That's like, previous low, which is 31K, towards the bounce up of 40,000. So in between, we may still range there, where you can actually look at your bottom as this one. Right now we are there. So if you get a wick to the downside, which happened, remember, which happened during the capitulation of this bull market ending day. Even during the 2020 March crash, you didn't go much lower in terms of strength here. So chances are much higher that this may come back. But the time taken for that would be long, and time is important for a lot of guys, because when they see market in red, they may not be able to digest it. They are really trading with leverage on a regular basis, and that may put them into a difficult situation where they now have to take a lot of different choices, which are really important, because if they miss something, that's going to hurt their portfolio. So that's why I always suggest you to look at charts to understand that. And if you see like there is a possibility that you may range here and this would act as a support and continue higher, that's what you're looking at, because the odds are, as I just showed you, most of the time we respect a broken resistance as support when you come back down. The next time, as the market is moving higher, the volatility is increasing. So if it is following the same trend, you are following towards all-time high and new all-time high. So question is, can you digest this red market? That's the only way you are going to get higher ROI. Now just look at this example here. We dropped like 77%, and those who were still buying at that support, at least, not the exact bottom, they managed to get at least 500, 600% in profit, right? So if you look at the same before, here you dropped somewhere like 37%. So if you were someone who is buying at that range, you were able to easily get that 160% profit. So it's not about these drops, it's about when you buy. So if you are ready to buy this asset when it is ranging low, creating lower lows, then now that's on a smaller time frame chart, on a 1 hour or 4 hour. Then you are going to find opportunities if at that time on a macro chart you're trending higher, you're creating higher highs and moving high with higher lows. So that's something general if you are trading in the market. Understand these as basic so that you're not wiped out. Don't leverage in this market, because the market can drop like this huge on you and your positions would be wiped out. You don't need that. Even if you timed correctly, time in the market may eat you out. Otherwise, if you didn't time well and you have time in the market, it's fine. You may still recover and go into profits. So that's a huge difference between timing the market and giving more time in the market. So as this market and the drama continues, you need to educate yourself, stay reliable with your own data, and understand these data points gives you more validity when it has more touch on that zone. So instead of just looking at this top here of 0.75, you can also consider this range of 0.65, which we now have one close day, two close day. We went near that zone here, we touched here, when we came back we bounced at that level. So that's much reliable, and the moving average on a 3-day is now at 0.8. So that can be again acting as resistance, no, acting as a support. Sorry for that. And then when you are looking at on a weekly, 20-day moving averages right now is support, and if we manage to stay above it, that's bullish, and if we don't, we may come down to retest this level of 0.65. So if you are leveraged, even if it is just wicking down and going back up, you are kicked out. Even if your direction of $4 XRP, $10 XRP, whatever your target is, even if that's valid, the market may first kick you out and then go there. So you don't get the profit. So always reduce your risk exposure and learn and trade. Don't just listen to someone and jump in and put your money in there, right? So I hope you guys received value for your time, and if you really did, please do support the channel. Hit that like and subscribe button. That supports the channel a lot. Now, if you want to understand these charts about different assets for your portfolio, you can look at the Patreon, where I give this kind of alerts way back. When I see it, I inform them. When I'm getting prepared for myself, I inform them. So if you want that kind of update, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.